What's up, my Wizards dev? SBMTG, down there, youtube.com, we like magic. It is Wednesday, right now at least. It might not be Wednesday when you're watching this, but for me, it's Wednesday, and that means that there are more Amonkhet spoilers. And so far today, we've only seen like 5, which means that there are probably going to be like at least 5 more a little bit later. And normally I'd wait to do the whole thing, but I got my gig as a trivia host in just like a couple hours, so I wanted to go ahead and do these 5 spoilers, kick out a video for you, and if there's any more tonight, I'll be right on those. But let me go ahead and talk about what we do have. First card today is Enigma Drake. This is 3 mana, 1, a blue, and a red for a star 4 Drake with flying. And the star, his power, is equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Okay, so it's Spellheart Chimera, but it loses trample and gets point of toughness, so it can't be bolted now. That's kind of cool. So, you know, good and bad things here. You know, with a thing like Spellheart Chimera, especially in Commander, I'd probably rather have the trample, but this being less removable is always good. And I've seen a debate hotly raging on message boards so far today over what's better, but I guess people are forgetting that in Commander decks, you just play both. You just play both. That was quick. So here's the second card. Let's talk about Glyph Keeper right here. This is 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue for a 5/3 Sphinx with flying, and whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time in a turn, counter that spell or ability, and you can embalm this guy for 5 and 2 blue. Okay, so it's got like the Glass Kite or Kira, I guess, ability on it, sort of, except it doesn't give all your creatures this ability. It's just it, like Glass Kite. But anyway, you know, always been a pretty decent ability. It's like a pseudo hexproof, which is always nice, although it stops you from, you know, targeting it with stuff. But in the deck that like this is going to go in, I highly doubt that you're going to be targeting it with stuff anyway. Looks like a control finisher, but in a format with Torrential Gearhulk, it's sort of redundant. I don't know that we need this card like at all, and it probably won't see any mainstream standard play, although it is worth noting that this is a guy that takes 2 removal spells to kill the first time, and then like you can embalm him. Takes 2 more removal spells to kill him. So, you know, meaty 5 power flyer in the air. The 3 toughness hurts an awful lot as far as like different combat situations he may find himself in, but you know, trades with Heart of Kieran and then comes back later, so there's at least that. But I mean, people say like, oh, his 3 toughness is really low, he'll die in combat a lot. That's probably true, but he can come back. You got that going for you, you know. But all things considered, I think Torrential Gearhulk is just way better as far as control finishers go. I don't think there's room in the decks for, you know, a 1 or 2 of this guy. I don't really think that you'd want to do that, honestly. But in a format that didn't have Torrential, or Sphinx is the final word for that matter, this might be totally good. And if you're looking for a budget control finisher and you don't want to spend like 15-20 bucks on a Gearhulk, this could totally work for you. So I mean, I'm a fan of the card and I think that it's got some play to it. I just think that with the way the environment is right now, it won't see any play. Card number 3 right here. This is Wayward Servant. I'm kind of excited about this guy. He's 2 mana, that's white and black for a 2/2 zombie. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Neat! Super neat. We've already talked about an Aristocrats deck in the last few spoiler videos. It looks like something's shaping up, and this is definitely good for that. It doesn't even have to be Aristocrats. This isn't a dies trigger. It's just a ETB trigger, which is super great for all kinds of stuff. 'Cause we got a bunch of zombies that come back from the graveyard right now, you know. We've got, we just saw, what is it? Dread Wanderer. That's the name of the stupid thing. We just saw Dread Wanderer yesterday. We've already got Relentless Dead 2 and Prized Amalgam. They go with this pretty well. You don't even have to play blue in the deck. Just, you know, Prized Amalgam can come back from your graveyard if you can pitch it in there somehow. So all kinds of good zombies that this works with, just in Standard, not to mention in other formats. And also in Standard, we got even stuff like From Under the Floorboards, still Standard legal, you know, if you want to start playing with that card now. I always kind of liked it. And then even Dark Salvation, the zombie removal card, this works well with too. And, you know, just we can make a lot of zombies right now. Rise from the Tides, also still Standard legal, speaking of making a bunch of zombies. So card looks kind of awesome in a way, you know. So I can't wait to play around with this thing. Loving zombies the last couple of days here in spoiler season. Card looks dope. And by the way, I can't get out of here without mentioning that this actually goes infinite in Commander. I guess you could make this work in like other formats, but at least in Commander with Gravecrawler and Phyrexian Altar, this will go infinite. That's pretty awesome too. Here's a sweet card. This is Sweltering Suns right here. It's 3 mana, 1 and 2 red for a sorcery. Sweltering Suns deals 3 damage to each creature, and you can cycle it for 3. So just like aristocrats, like, can we go a day without red deck wins getting a super sweet card? Like, which by the way, I'm actually not complaining about. I love red deck wins. I've wanted it to be a thing in standard for a while now. Like, I always build a red deck wins deck, and I think that they're always pretty good, but they never like catch on in mainstream standard. But we may be seeing the tools for it shape up, and I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. Like, it's not Anger of the Gods, and there are a couple of things we want to exile right now. Scrap Heap Scrounger, Dread Wanderer, and all the Embalm guys. We want to exile them, yes, but I still think even though it's not Anger of the Gods, it'll see a bunch of play. I think so, at least in these heavy red strategies and control decks that play red. I think this will definitely see a bunch of play. This is a great panic button. This is a way to like main deck a 3 of Radiant Flames if you want to, and then when you come across decks that it's dead against, just cycle it. Like, that's just insanely good. I think this card will see a ton of play. But the last card of the day so far, at least, is Samut, Voice of Dissent. This is 5 mana, 3, a green, and a red for a 3/4 legendary human warrior with, get this, Flash, Double Strike, Vigilance, and Haste. Other creatures you control have haste, and you can pay a white and tapper to untap target creature. Whew, that is a lot of stuff on one card. And there's a lot of people saying it's like a step too slow for standard play, but I don't know, man. I think Flash makes all the difference here. Sure, 5 mana is a lot, but when you give a 5 mana creature Flash, it becomes much, much, much more playable. Definitely. So, and I think there's a lot of good things about this. You can flash it in as basically removal if you wanted to. And if you're like flashing it in as a removal against a 3 toughness attacker, then obviously it will survive attacks. And at that point, you'll untap, and you'll be able to, whatever creatures you play will suddenly have haste. That's incredible. So with like tokens producers and go wide strategies and stuff, this looks really, really good. And let's say, just big creatures even. Obviously, let's say you play this flash on your opponent's turn on turn 5. And then when you go, your next turn, you embalm your, Hydra. And suddenly you've got this guy and a 6/6 flash. Or 6/6 haste. That's pretty straight right there. So I actually think this card is awesome. And I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that it will definitely see all the standard play, but I do think it's very much pushed to be able to do just that. Not only does it have haste and flash, that's neat because it gives you all these options. Do I play it on my opponent's turn during their attack step? Do I play it at the end of their turn? Or do I play it on my turn, go ahead and swing in with it, A lot of versatility against control. Play it on your turn, swing in with haste. If they don't see that coming, they're in trouble. Against aggressive decks, flashing it on their turn, block, that's awesome. So much versatility in this thing. And works really well with things like exert. Obviously, not only does it give your exert creatures haste, they can go ahead and exert the turn they come into play, but she can also swing with vigilance and still untap an exert guy. Like, so much stuff that this card does, and that's just standard. That's not even talking about commander. This may be the preferred Naya commander from here on out. Although, there are some other ones, there are some other, like, Gahiji, I think his name is. He seems okay. And then, obviously Marith. That thing is great too. But honestly, this might be, if I were going to build a Naya commander deck, like my Naya commander, like, thing looks so absolutely ridiculous. And there's so many cool ways you can build around her too. Well, as the on-screen text may have prompted you multiple times at this point in the video, I was lying. There are actually more cards spoiled today. As soon as I sat down to edit, they spoiled 2 more cards, like as soon as I sat down to edit. Reloaded the page. They spoiled 2 more cards. That is the most fun thing about being an MTG YouTuber, is these midday previews. But in any case, I think that these definitely merit some conversation, so let's get to talking about them, starting with Vizier of Many Faces. This is 4 mana. This is the clone of the set. This is 2 and 2 blue for a 0/0 Shapeshifter Cleric. You may have Vizier of Many Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except that if Vizier of Many Faces was embalmed, the token has no mana cost, it's white, and it's a zombie in addition to its other types. And you can embalm it for 5 mana, 3 and 2 blue. So it's a clone that can come back and clone something else after it dies. That's actually really, really good. I don't think it's going to see like a bunch of standard play, because clones typically don't. Well, it's, 4 and 5 minute clones aren't going to see all the standard play. But in Commander, this looks pretty sweet. Honestly, a clone that you can use twice is very much welcome. So, yeah, I like it. But here's the whole reason that I freaked out a little bit and decided to go ahead and do these 2 cards. If it was just like Vizier of Many Faces and another mediocre card, I would have just been like, I'll do these later on tonight when I get back from trivia, right? But this card is actually why I decided to do this, to add this part onto the video. Here's By Force right here. It's pretty straightforward. X and a red for a sorcery. Destroy X target artifacts. We already have Release the Gremlins, right? But that is 2X. That costs X. That costs, red and 2X. That's not great. But people still use Release the Gremlins. It even helped to win a Pro Tour, if I remember correctly. So, that's, Release the Gremlins is already a great card. But I think this will probably see even more sideboard play, and maybe even, depending on how big artifacts still are, a couple of weeks after the format starts, like, one of main deck play. Like, this will almost always find a target, and anytime it finds 2 or 3 targets, you've just gotten a butt ton of value. If this becomes a 2-for-1, it's insane, but even if it's just Shatter, that's still alright. Come to think of it, Shatter may have been an instant, so not strictly better Shatter, but much better Shatter in most situations. Because if you can hit like 3 or 4 artifacts with this, it's freaking crazy. And like, let's not even talk about Commander, by the way. You got like 2 or 3 guys at your LGS that like to play artifacts in Commander like everybody does. Like, I think there are an average of 15 to 20 artifacts in most Commander decks. So this thing can do a lot for you in Commander. But as far as Standard, which is what I'm concerned with, this card is ridiculous and will almost certainly see all of the play. Yeah, I know, again, we already have Release the Gremlins. Calm down. I still think that this is that much better, especially against all the vehicles decks in the format. Things that'll play like an Artifact turn 1, Heart of Kieran turn 2, another Artifact turn 3, whatever, Scrap Heap Scrounger turn 3 or something. This can just take care of a lot of threats all at one time for a relatively low mana cost. So even at the sorcery speed, I am a fan. But that's all the spoilers to talk about from today. So far we have 7 in total, so we'll probably get a couple more later on tonight. If that happens, I'll get right back on it. But set your calendars, because tomorrow is my Amonkhet preview card. April the 13th, that's Thursday. That is tomorrow. If you're watching this the day I put it out. So, stay tuned for that. Make sure that you hit the notifications, so you'll get that exclusive Amonkhet preview card that I'm super excited about. I have gotten one other preview card, but it was from Modern Masters, so it was a reprint. It was Niv Mizzet. I really, really like the card. Also got Izzet Charm. But, I love that card too, but those are reprints. Love to have preview cards, but those are reprints. This is a brand new card no one's ever seen before except for the R&D team and me. So I'm really, really excited to give that to you. Make sure you stick with the channel tomorrow and get that. All you got to do is hit the bell to get the notifications. That'll be in your inbox at some point tomorrow. Also, you should like this video. If you enjoyed this video, just hit thumbs up. Helps any YouTube channel that you watch more than you could possibly understand. You can also follow me on Twitter, SBMTG Dev, sorry. You can also share all the stuff. You can share this on YouTube, share it on Twitter. YouTube spiel right here. So I think I'm done with that now. Anyway, I always get comments like, man, Dev just looks like he's really uncomfortable doing the business stuff. It's not that I'm super uncomfortable. I just want to talk about cards. So when it comes down to like the whole YouTube rigmarole song and dance at the end, I don't care. I just want to talk about cards. So be with me tomorrow where I will talk about more cards, which is what I like to do. I'm Deb from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards.